This is chapter 8A on the probability scale. So we're talking about chance. So probability is describing how likely a future event is. So it's impossible for a sheep to fly, so it's at 0%. It's uncertain that you'll win a trophy, so it's somewhere actually right around here. Because 50%, this is actually an even chance. And then it's certain that the sun will go down or rise, even if it's covered in clouds, because that's what illuminates our Earth. And every time we talk about probability, it's between 0 to 1, because 0 represents 0%, 1 represents 100%. So everything in between, like 0.1 is 10% or 1/10, same thing. 0.2 is 20% or 2/10, same thing. 0.5, for example, is 50%, which is 5/10, and so forth. So let's look at some examples. Now, this is a probability scale, this line. So we're going to put things on the probability scale. 50%, 0%, 100%. Anything in between here, from 0 to 50, is unlikely. Everything between here to here is likely, because it's not certain, nor is it even. So if we look at the first example, if you roll an ordinary dice, what's the probability that you'll get a number less than 100? Well, on a dice, which is this thing, you have all numbers less than 100, so it's a 6 in 6 chance, which is 100%. This is certain. So I'm going to label this event A and put it right here at A. B, chance of getting a number more than 6, that's impossible. So 0%. This is event B. Now, bigger than 3? Well, I have the numbers 4, 5, and 6. So that's 3 numbers out of 6 possible numbers. And the 6, I use 6 because that's the total possible numbers I have. And I use 3 because it's the total numbers that are possible. So it's the same as saying 50%. So C is even chance. If you toss an ordinary dice 40 times, how many times would you expect it to land on heads? Well, a coin has 2 sides. You have a 1 in 2 chance. That's 50%. So if you toss it 40 times, you should expect it to land 20 out of 40 times. Finally, here's your activity for today. In number 1, you have to label the probability scale, put these labels there. In number 2, you need to use these words in the box to describe each event, if it's likely, unlikely, impossible, and so forth, and then draw a probability scale, which is that line we just talked about. And then in number 3, you have to work with a dice. So if you roll the number 1, what's the likelihood of rolling the number 1? Well, you have 6 numbers. To get the number 1, there's only 1 chance. And then you have to put it on the probability scale. So personally, this is 1 out of 6. It's somewhere in the unlikely space. So probably right here, I would look for 1/6 of the line. So half is 3/6, right? So 2/6, 1/6. So A would be right here. 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6. So you make sure that you cut off your line correctly like you would in fractions. In 4, you have to do the same thing but with 10, and this probability scale should be cut in 10. So this should be 5/10, this should be 10/10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so the chance of getting an even number is basically 5 out of 10, because it's not 5 out of 10, because you're only working with the numbers 0 to 9. So it's actually a different number, so you have to be careful. I'm not going to give away the answer. And then work with 5 and 6. And that's it.